And it's Friday.
We're live.
Are we on? I think we're on.
We're live.
All right, let's do this. We got a lot to present to you today, so keep tuned in. We are live at the New Media Studio here at beautiful Valley High School. This is Falcon Flash. And Friday's back upon us, folks. Good morning. Today is Friday, the 25th of October. We are 1 week away from the end of the 6-week grading period. So get those grades up by next Thursday. A week from today, we don't even have school. How about that? Josh is here, though. He's got today's patriotic observance, so let's get to it.
Awesome. For today's patriotic observance, we will talk about John Steinbeck. John Steinbeck is one of the best-known American novelists of the 20th century and was born on February 27, 1902 in Salinas, California. Living in the farming town, Steinbeck came to have an appreciation of the land as well as had an understanding about the hardships of agriculture at that time. His topics often included social and economic issues in the fast-changing America. Steinbeck is best known for Grapes of Wrath, and which explored the tragedy of the Great Depression and aroused widespread sympathy for the lives of migratory farm workers. His other works included Mice of Men, Canary Row, and East of Eden. At the end of his career, he had written 31 books, and was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1962 on this day. And now,
Steinbeck is a celebrated author around the world.
Winner of the Nobel Prize in 1962, John Steinbeck gave voice to working-class America.
He writes about people we're not familiar with, but he makes them relatable to a general audience. In spite of the fact that he's writing about hobos and tramps and Okies and other people such as that, he manages to stress the universal condition that we all share.
John Ernst Steinbeck was born on February 27, 1902, in Salinas, California, a region that would later be the setting for many of his most famous works.
Steinbeck reflected California through the people and the landscape and the history. Not only was he a wonderful writer, but he was a great student of his own home.
Steinbeck enrolled in Stanford University in 1919, but eventually dropped out. He continued to write, but for years was simply scraping by until 1935, when he would receive his first critical success.
Tortilla Flat was a huge bestseller. No one expected it. It sold 26,000 copies in its first year, which was astonishing during the middle of the Depression. It came out in 1935. This is a beautiful story about a gang of winos living in a rundown house in California just after World War I.
In 1937, Steinbeck's novella of Mice and Men became an immediate bestseller, And its play adaptation won him the New York Drama Critics Circle Award.
What he wanted to do was to write something called a play novelette. He was playing with a new form of writing. He wanted the story to be lifted from the book onto the stage. He wanted it played. He wanted it performed.
I think what appealed to readers about Of Mice and Men was the fact that it dealt realistically with the grim situation of the Depression and the inability of people to find work. But it also struck an emotional chord with readers because in spite of all that, there's this very strong friendship between George and Lenny, and that seems to compensate for what they don't have in their lives.
Steinbeck reported on migrant farm workers for the San Francisco Chronicle in 1939, providing the basis for his Pulitzer Prize-winning work, The Grapes of Wrath.
The Grapes of Wrath was an immediate bestseller when it came out and remained on the bestseller list for more than a year.
It set a lot of things in motion. Not only is this a story about the Joads, but a story about a lot of people. It put a face on the harsh truths that were occurring at the time in this country.
In 1940, the screen version of The Grapes of Wrath became one of the first 25 films selected for preservation by the Library of Congress.
It's rare for a masterpiece to translate into a great film. The Grapes of Wrath, directed by John Ford, is a masterpiece in cinema history. The timing is perfect, the setting, the lighting, the characters.
Steinbeck died following a heart attack on December 20th, 1968, but left a legacy of 27 books.
Steinbeck had a huge, productive decade. Over a 10-year period, he produced half a dozen of America's great masterpieces in fiction.
And now, here's Jose with today's Falcon Flash.
Thank you, Josh. And now here's today's Falcon Flash. Senior Jasmine Neri and Junior Juliana Vergara represented Valley High School yesterday at the Orange County Superior Court Young Women's Civic Leadership Conference. Our Lady Falcons attended sessions led by judges, attorneys, and law school students in which they learned about civic engagement, law school, and judicial system. Congratulations, Jasmine and Juliana. Next week, our biggest community event of the year returns to Valley as we celebrate our annual Valley de los Muertos with food, live performances, and arts and crafts. Bring your whole family next Wednesday night from 5 to 8 p.m. to celebrate. Calling all football fans, our varsity team takes on Magnolia High School tonight at the Handel Museum at Western High School. The winner of this game is guaranteed a place in the playoffs. Be there to support our Falcons. Today is our final home game for the water polo as we take on Volta Grande High School. Come out to the pool deck to support our seniors and the entire team today after school. Juniors, your class shirt is available to order. Fill out the form in your Falcon Flash Google Classroom to get yours. Staff, if you are interested in purchasing a class of 2021 shirt, please stop by ASB to talk to Maribel. Valley's Fall concert took place on Wednesday night this week. It was a great night featuring lots of talented musicians and singers. Let's take a look.
So beautiful for patron dreams that sees beyond the years. Like alabaster city, gypsy by fire, gypsy by fire, magic fire, magic fire. Ooh, ale,
That's right.
You're good. You're good.
Mrs. Wu is back in the house with your Valley Values Minute. Today, we are going to talk about the Valley value of being strong. Being on time requires mental strength. So be strong, be on time to every single period. Most students don't realize this, but 93 to 95% of our total student population shows up to class on time every period. That's over 2,000 students a day doing the right thing. That's absolutely wonderful. And if you are one of the over 2,000 students on time in your classes, I applaud you. Applauso. But we want all of our students to be in class on time every day. So why should you be on time to your classes? Well, number one, it's practice for the real world. Whether you're going into the workforce or college after high school, you need to be punctual. Punctuality is a skill that is prized amongst employers. Employers want workers who they can trust to be there to do their job. Number two, every minute of instruction counts. You have to be present to receive instruction. Now, nobody has a DeLorean to go back in time to fix their mistakes. Time keeps moving forward whether you want to or now. So now is the time to work hard. Oftentimes, I hear students say, oh, I only miss like 5 minutes of class every day. What's the big deal? But if we look at just 5 minutes a day times 5 days a week, well, that's 25 minutes a week of missed instruction. That's a lot of class time to miss in class. So you might be asking yourself, what are some things that you can do to be on time? Well, you can go to bed earlier. You can prepare everything you need the night before. And you can set an alarm away from your bed so that you have to get up to turn it off. All these little things will help set you up for success. Now, in conclusion, be strong and be on time. Being on time will help you be more successful in your classes. Remember, we are here to prepare you for life after high school. Be strong and be on time. Now, we're going to go ahead and look at our winners for today. Now, 6 more students were randomly selected for our on-time arrival prize giveaway. Now, let's see who won the prize today. There they are. So let's see. Now let's see what they win. The prize of the day is a ballpoint pen. Stop by ASB to pick up your prize if you have no tardies for the past 5 days. Back to you, Jose.
Thank you, Mrs. Wu. Now here's a little bit of information about Red Ribbon Week. Fentanyl is an opioid used as a pain medication. It is also used as a recreational drug, often mixed with heroin and cocaine. It has a rapid onset and its effects generally last less than 2 hours. It has a high death rate by overdose, and it spreads communicable skills as the economic burden and major issues caused by the epidemic, which has emerged as one of the worst drug crises in American history. More than 33,000 people have died from overdoses in 2015, nearly equal to the number of deaths from car crashes, with deaths from heroin and cocaine alone, more than the number of gun homicides. It has also left thousands of children suddenly in need for foster care after their parents have died from an overdose due to addiction. Prescription drugs abuse rates have been increasing in teenagers with access to parents' medicine cabinets, especially 12 to 17-year-olds. Abused girls were 1/3 of all the new abusers of prescription drugs in 2006. Teens abuse prescription drugs more than any illicit drug except marijuana, more than cocaine, heroin, and meth combined. Here is a sad story of a teen who came from a good home and is now living in her 20s on the streets due to her opioid addiction.
This is the new young face of fentanyl addiction, before and after. 22-year-old Katie Mather, forehead and chin clawed open by her own fingernails because the use of fentanyl makes her skin crawl. I spot her on the Strip, Surrey's infamous drug hangout, and ask if she'll talk to me. She puts cover-up on her raw skin.
So I'm literally just doing my mascara and I'm good to go.
Katie settles in to tell her story.
There you go. Perfect.
How she ended up living on the street 3 months ago, addicted to fentanyl.
Well, I've been using, it's actually funny. Well, not funny, it's terrible. I have a really addictive personality. I've always been like addicted to something, whether it was shopping or Facebook or whatever. And I did an Oxy. I got addicted right away. And then I finally found a regular dealer and I started picking up all the time. I remember the day the fentanyl came out and my dealer said, you know, I've got these new pills. They're fake oxys. He didn't tell me they were fentanyl because nobody knew what fentanyl was yet. He just said they're 100 times stronger and they're only $5 more. And I was just like, okay, because I was getting a pretty high tolerance at this point.
Oxys, OxyContin, led to fake 80s, fentanyl posing as OxyContin. Immediately, Katie wanted nothing else.
I could buy one of these fake 80s, put them into 4 lines, and 2 lines would last me a full day. That's how strong it was. And if I did a full pill, I would OD.
Katie says she's overdosed 11 times, most recently a few days ago. Brought back by paramedics or friends on the strip who have naloxone, the powerful opioid antidote.
Every time I do dope, I know I'm taking a risk. I know that I might die, but it doesn't matter how many times I've OD'd. I still use the next day because the withdrawals are so bad.
Katie has been in the news before. She and her sister attacked by a Rottweiler cross back in December. Katie was badly hurt and spent time in hospital. She says that cemented her addiction to fentanyl. As she talks, blood starts to seep through her makeup.
Katie, you're 22. Why would you risk this?
Well, at first it was just fun, right? It was just for fun. It was just a party drug that, and there's been some things that I've gone through and it helped with a lot of pain. And especially after, that dog attack, I just couldn't stop,
I ask Katie if she worries about herself and her future.
Sometimes. I mean, I don't know. I just like to take things one day at a time, right? I'll kind of just go with it and hopefully, hope for the best.
For now, the best Katie can hope for is to wake up from her next fix of fentanyl.
Our picture of the day comes from the California African American Museum, where the whole school bus loaded of Global Business Academy students did some off-campus learning earlier this week. If you have tomorrow's picture of the day, send it to Mr. Rosma for a chance to be featured on the Falcon Flash. That's our show for today. But before we go, let's throw it over to Josh, who has today's birthdays.
Alrighty, we have a couple birthdays. To office manager Maddie Viraga, happy birthday. Happy birthday to Hillary Clinton and the seniors, Simora Angelo and Leslie Gallegos. Also, the junior Luis Santana and the sophomores Albero Perez and Jasmine Dola. Happy birthday to Tom Guzman, the freshmen, Jacob Morris, Gisa Retina, and Carlos Zavala. And that's it for today. Have a wonderful birthday. Oh, we have a couple more. Okay, that's it.
All right. And that's it for today's Falcon Flash. And remember, Falcon Fever, catch it.